The Smells Like Hope podcast. And I'm super excited to welcome everybody to the show today. As you can see, my special guest is the great, the icon, the snake, Jake, by God Roberts. What's up, brother?
Wow. I don't know, man. After that intro, I don't know where to go.
Yeah, that's all right, man. I will guide you. You spent years guiding people. I'll guide you. This is the Smells Like Hope podcast. For those of you out there who are new, this is the podcast that does absolutely shine a light of truth on the disease of addiction. It's a hell of a thing to break free from it. There are a lot of people every day struggling with it. I have made this podcast to be absolutely free, not looking to monetize it at all. We are here simply to save lives. And today, we are bringing on the man who had a huge part in saving my life. On his example, helped guide me away from a massive cocaine addiction. And we talked a few weeks ago on the Fan Room Live, where the only reason I went on the Fan Room was to tell this man what he did for me and to thank him. I told him about this podcast, and he said, dude, I'm in. Let's do it. So here we are. Jake, thank you so much.
No problem at all, man. I'm more than happy to do it. And excited, man, that, with a little hope that maybe somebody else will find a better way today,
And that really is the whole thing this podcast is about, man. It's about hope and hopefully some knowledge. We've all had our own. But
you got to be smart about it. You got to attack this thing. It is a disease, man, and you got to attack it like a disease. You can't leave any door open.
That's right. And one thing I wanted to share with you last time that I didn't get a chance to because we were on a limited time there was my first day in rehab. My first night there, I fall asleep and I have a dream. And this dream is taking place for some reason, because in rehab, you don't sleep on the first floor and you don't sleep with a window that can open because they think you're going to jump. Right. But in this dream, I was on the first floor and the window opened and this big black SUV came pulling up. And they're screaming, Rob! And I look out the window and it's Nash. And Nash puts his window down and he holds up a bottle of Jack Daniels and he goes, come on, get in the car. And I look over and there's Bret Hart doing a line off a mirror going, come on, brother, come get in the car with us. And Jim Neidhart is sitting in the back smoking a joint. And I was like, you guys need to get the hell out of here. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere appears Jake the Snake and goes, you guys get the fuck out of here. You keep doing what you're doing. And then I woke up. And I was like, whoo. Boy, that was a sign.
Yeah, it's pretty weird sometimes, man.
Yeah.
It really does. The worst dreams I would have, I would wake up, and as I exhaled, I would see smoke coming out of my mouth.
Wow.
I'm like, wow, what the hell was that? and then I breathe again, and more smoke come out, and I could taste the cocaine.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, shit. And now what am I doing? I'm looking on the carpet for pieces, right? Oh, my God, man. It's horrible living like that, man. That's not living. That's dying.
And the thing about those goddamn drug dreams is when you're having them, you have no idea it's a dream. All you know is 1 minute you're like, hell yeah, I'm going to do that drug. And then you do it. And then you hate yourself in your dream. And then when you wake up and you realize you're awake, you're going, oh, thank God that was just a dream.
Yeah. I'm glad those dreams have stopped on me, man. It's been a while since I had a nasty one, and I pray that I don't have any more.
Yeah, it's been about a year for me, and but I just know it's always just outside the door trying to come in. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. So how much clean time you got right now, Jake?
Oh, man. Over 10 years, man. Beautiful.
I'm coming up on 3 years.
Yeah, I guess I'm pretty close to 11 now. But, it's been such a wonderful passage, man. Getting clean for me opened a whole new life for me.
Sure.
A whole new life. In AA, they talk about the gifts. That if you keep doing these things, you too will receive gifts. Okay, I'm ready for a gift, man. Come on, hit me, And it does happen. They start to come. I mean, I've had some of the craziest stuff come up, parts in a movie, the Peanut Butter Falcon. What the hell? How did I get that? Wasn't me, bud. Wasn't me. But the gifts keep coming, man. I mean, relationships can heal.
Yes.
My relationships with my children and my ex-wives is super good right now. And plan on it staying that way too. My grandkids, they're doing it, man. They make me feel so good, man. Oh my God.
That's good. I mean, years and years and years ago, I think it was probably for Rick Bassman or maybe Alex. I know somebody in LA. We got booked on a couple shows together way back then. And I saw how you were way back then.
Yeah.
And
not nice.
Now, that's the thing. Even though you were, enthralled to this addiction, you were always still, at least to me, always so nice to everybody and courteous. And now that you got the chance to shake that off, I can only imagine how pleasant you are to everybody now.
Yeah, it feels really good, man. And, I've never been a person full of hate. And there's a couple of little dots in there that I have to deal with, but I'm just going to have to deal with them, man, because they're there and they're going to stay there.
And that's what I tell people along that same point. I tell them all the time when they're crying about, I have screwed everybody up. Nobody will ever forgive me. I've done so wrong. And I tell them, yes, they will.
That's one thing about us over here in the good old USA. We love a good comeback story.
That's right.
We love them comebacks, man. We like to see a son of a bitch go all the way down in the shit, be covered up in shit, drowned in shit, and a little hand reaches down the size of a baby's hand and pulls him out.
Yes, sir.
It's a miracle, brother. It's a miracle.
And it's
every day.
That moment of clarity that addicts have that make them go over and get themselves cleaned up. Like their family, their friends, they all have that moment of clarity as well when they see like, oh shit, you're actually for real this time. That's all everybody wants for you.
Yeah, they can see it.
Yeah.
When it's real, when it really hits you. I mean, the worst thing is to see somebody trying to fake it to make it,
Yeah.
They always said, fake it till you make it. Well, I ain't like that, man. I don't like that fake shit. Let's just call it what it is. Let's deal with it, man. I'm not ashamed of where I've been. Hell, I'm proud that I made it out of there, So
I'm proud you made it out too. You are an inspiration to so many. And people like you are necessary for people like me. And hopefully somebody like me will be necessary to help out I got this let me share this with you. I got this really cool email from a lady who said her daughter was really, really bad on the opiates and had just no intention on getting clean. So mom tried to keep daughter in eyes distance all the time. Huh. So they're on this little road trip out to visit some family, and she decided, I'm going to play this podcast from this wrestler who got sober and see if it gets through to her. And one line, it's amazing. One line that I said got through to her. That was, I know you're in hell, but there is an exit sign. It's just scary because the exit sign is surrounded by fire, but you could use that exit. And her daughter looked at her and went, I'm ready to go to rehab. And they're testing it to me. And I'm like, well, thank God I could do that for somebody.
Hell yeah, man. You never know how God's going to use you.
Right.
But he will use you, whether you know it or not. He's going to patty up your ass a little bit, man. He spent too much time on you to let you get away.
Right. I actually got myself ordained, and not for any reason like I want to dodge taxes or perform weddings. I got ordained so I get that little, minister's card. So when I'm talking to these people in the groups or in the H&Is, and they're talking about, there's no forgiveness for me, I've done too much. I tell them, I show them my card and say, I am going to hold God accountable for a promise that he made a very long time ago. And if you want forgiveness, all you have to do is ask, and I will give it to you right now. Because you see this card? That means I'm one of the boys.
Yep.
And it works. People smile, they tear, they're happy. And when they learn to forgive themselves, then they can work on themselves.
That was the hardest thing for me, was forgiving myself.
Sure.
I had a real hard time with that. It took me probably 2.5 or 3 years for me to start forgiving myself. And DDP gave me a task. And the task was, every morning you get up, you walk in the bathroom, take your piss, whatever you got to do, but you look at that mirror and say, hey, dude, I'm starting to like you. I'm like, I'm not doing that stupid shit. Well, I did it. And I guess about the 8th or 9th time, I started believing it.
Yeah.
You know, what the hell, man? You're all right, you know? I mean, you've been through hell. You look like shit, but guess what? You earned them scars, man.
That's right.
Wear them proudly. And everything else is going to be all right. You know,
Yeah.
the addiction tells us that we'll never recover. Well, that's just a lie, man.
Well, that's what the addiction is. It's living a lie.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. My favorite saying is, my history will not be my destiny.
Oh, good one.
That's real.
That is real. That's a damn good one.
Yeah.
That hits harder than the DDT, brother. Bam. I'm so thrilled. And I say it all the time on this. Like, I had Mike Drosy, Duke the Dumpster.
Yeah.
I've had him on here a few times to share it. And I tell people, when they're sitting there and they're suffering alone, but they're listening to the podcast, that means that somewhere in their head, they want help. And I tell them, look at this. There's 2 people that you've never met who would help you. So imagine all the people that you know who will help you. It's a hell of a ride. And I tell them, too, it gets easier. It really does. My first year was a son of a bitch. Thank God I was on drug court, and they really monitored me.
Well, you know, you got to do what you got to do. I mean, DDP and them, they tested me all the time.
Yeah.
And, to me, it just got to be a joke. It's like, okay, you're fixing to blow $200 here. Let me piss on your leg or something, you know.
I'll tell you, training. Good times. Yeah, Dalley's a cool cat. I like the fact that he saw you, he saw Scott, he took in for help. And, I hear all these people saying, it doesn't really matter. Dalley was just doing it for ratings. Yeah, but you know what? They're still alive. So.
Yeah. He may have had 50 different reasons to do it. Bottom line is, nobody else did it.
That's right.
Nobody else came forward to ask to do it. You know, it takes a hell of a lot for anybody to open up their wallet and say, come live with me. I'll take care of all your bills till you go back to work.
Yep.
And he did. He kept his word, man. I'm talking about some serious coin here.
Yeah, right.
$30,000, $40,000, man, before I got it turned around. But then once I got it turned around, he said, all right, dude, you're going back out there, but you're not going alone. No, I don't want to. I'm scared to go alone. So I had to take somebody with me. So therefore, when I got a gig, I had to pay my attendance fare and my fare,
right,
and 2 hotel rooms and the food. Well, sometimes I lost money.
Sure.
But the thing was, I was reestablishing myself. The sober Jake.
And as I was going to say, maybe you didn't lose money. What you're doing is investing in yourself.
That's right. That's exactly right. You're not losing it. Anytime you do something positive, you cannot lose that.
Because it's just money. My dad, before he passed, told me once, he says, you could be a millionaire and you could wake up the next morning and have lost it all. And if you work really hard, you can make all that money back. What you can't get back is your time. What are you going to do with your time? This is after I was sober for about 1.5 years, and he finally had put faith in me again. And it's a rough ride, man, waiting for that acceptance.
Those scars, they're hard, man.
Yeah.
Especially for a man. I think it's tougher on a guy because I think that we look up to the man as the head of the family. Now, the head of the family is a fucking drunk, junkie, whatever. Wow. How are we going to take care of this shit? Well, it's not easy, man, but it can be done. You know, I had someone I was going to tell you, man. I forgot what the hell it was. That's funny. Here you go. Here you go. What's the only thing that this world cannot take from you? This world can take your money, can take your children, can take your hope. What can it not take?
I have no idea.
Your word.
Oh. I'm gonna have to put that up on my Facebook.
Your word, you have to give it. So if you're giving it, that means you're submitting to it. Submission. You know, that's what we do. At some point, you got to quit fighting and just lay your hands to your side and say, "Okay, man, I'm ready.
Yep,
I'm ready. Let's just get this done."
And
I'm tired of fighting it. I'm tired of beating my head against the wall. And it's so crazy that when you finally do get that moment of peace, you're like, "Holy shit, that was easy," you know?
Yeah.
But yet, it wasn't. So that was it.
When I decided to finally submit, because it's weird. They say when you ask for God's help, you get it on God's time, not yours.
Right.
And I had just a gigantic bag of blows sitting in front of me. And I had every intention to just sell it. And then subconsciously, I find myself doing key bumps.
Yeah.
And I lost it. I had lost so much to this demon on my back. Finally, I actually said, all right, let's try praying. Let's see how that works. And I meant it, man. I was like, please help get me out of this. And it's almost right away, you know, there's that knock on the door. And I'm like, oh, God's here already.
Yeah.
And he's like, come on, let's go. It's time. Hippity hop. Oh, can't I have an hour? Nope. Right now. And right then I took that big giant bag of dope, clunked it in the toilet, clunked my cell phone in the toilet. I was in rehab the next day because I was so bad off. The rehab counselors were like, oh, no, we believe you. We don't even need to drug test you. Just come get better.
Just come get better, man. You got that right.
And I loved it, man. I loved going to rehab. It was a vacation from everything because life had become all about where am I going to get my next bag?
Right.
And that was all consuming and all stressful all the time.
I get it, man. I get it. I was the same way. Going to rehab was like, oh, God, a safe place.
Yeah. Where you don't have to make any plans. You don't have to figure anything out. They've already got it figured out for you.
Yeah. Just shut up and get in the car.
That's right. Sit down here, do a meeting, go over here, have lunch, go outside, have a cigarette. It's meeting time again.
That's it. Just keep walking.
That's right. And it was great. And, you know, like, that's why I love to go to these H&I things. Another thing I tell them is this. I say, you know, in 7th grade, I had a really powerful science teacher. And one day for some reason, he asked, what's the difference between bravery and courage? And he said, bravery is when you're in a dangerous situation and you need to run into it and you're not scared at all and you just do it. And courage is when you're smart enough to be scared, but you do it anyway.
You still do it. Yeah, absolutely.
And then he said, what's the definition of a hero? A hero is an ordinary person, whether by his own means or outside means, he's thrust into extraordinary circumstances. Mm-hmm. And I tell them, not one of you could say you weren't at least a little bit scared walking in the front doors of this facility. But you did it.
Yeah.
And you faced an extraordinary circumstance and you're taking it on. Everybody in this room is a courageous hero. And everybody lights up. They're like, oh, wow, I never thought of it that way. And then I tell them, no heroes do it alone. Cops, firefighters, even the goddamn Justice League. Nobody does it alone. You are surrounded by people, and you need to help each other.
Yeah.
And that's the very point of this podcast, and that's why Jake came on, because he's the man.
Well, I'm more than happy to do this. Excuse me. All right, I'm back.
Okay. We got about 10 minutes left before I'm going to let you go ahead and get some rest. But I'll tell you one thing. Talking to your lovely daughter, getting this thing set up, she made me promise to give you some hell about not naming your damn book yet. How are we going to push your book if this hasn't got a name?
I know it, man. I got to think about that.
Why don't you just call it Untitled?
I could.
Yeah.
Good.
The way I'll tell you, that would gain my interest if I saw it in the bookstore, Untitled. Oh, shit. Jake's going to bring it out. Let's see what this is about.
I think I'll call it Do Not Read This.
that might backfire. They're like, well, if Jake says not to read it, we better put it back.
Yeah, fuck that. We don't do that.
Only read this if you have balls.
I just, I'm waiting for that title to come into my brain or my body, and I know that that's it. I just have not had that yet. And I'm not going to say it's going to be this when I have no idea.
Well, you've got to have producers or distributors who are getting a little bitchy about it by now, right?
Well, they can't bitch too much because I did it all on my own.
All right.
I paid this whole trip myself, and I've been working on this for over 10 years. So,
yeah.
I'd say I probably got about 12 years into it right now.
Wow.
There was a couple of years I didn't even look at it,
Sure.
But I would sit down. If it happened, it happened. If it didn't, I didn't push it. And that just, to me, is just a better way to do a book because it's coming from your heart, not your head.
I hear you. That might be a good name right there. Use your heart, not your head.
Use your heart, not your head.
Gotta tell you, your brain will outthink you all the time. But I promised Brandy I was going to give you a little bit of hell, so here it is. Here's your hell for Rob Wilds. Do it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, we're going to push the hell out of your book once you finally have a name.
All right, man. We'll get it done.
So you have any real good advice for somebody who is sitting at home and not quite convinced that they need help yet?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Are you going to sleep alone tonight?
Me?
Are you? No, just do this.
Okay.
Are you going to hold somebody? You going to hold them all night long? No, you're not. You're going to hold your drug all night long.
Huh.
You're going to hold your drink all night long. Oh, she may be laying over in the bed, but you ain't doing nothing. You ain't doing nothing but promising shit you can't do.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that confused me about cocaine. Why would you want to do a drug that makes it impossible to
right? Or at least to finish.
Yeah. It's like, really? Well, now with everything they got, brother, look out.
Yeah.
Because I know the old doctor, he hooked me up, and now I have to give myself a shot before I perform. But then afterwards, I have to give myself another shot to bring it back down. So,
right.
we're talking about tungsten steel here, And, I mean,
don't miss, you'll knock a hole in the wall.
It would, man. It's so hard you can chip ice with it, man.
God, I hope your poor daughter isn't listening to this.
Oh, I'm sure she is. Hey, she should know. I don't know if she told you what she does with her life, but before she got sick, she was the head of one of the largest rehabs in the world.
Really?
Yeah, in Kansas for all the troops.
No idea.
Man. Yeah. And she got misdiagnosed 11 years ago with MS. And it tore her ass up.
Yeah.
And she went in and wound up doing all the transfusions and all that bullshit and experimental drugs. Well, it got so bad she had to quit her job. She realized that she's dying. And she wanted to come home to die. So she sold her place up in Kansas and came back down to Texas. But when she got here, she had to have another doctor. So she went to the new doctor, and he looked at her and he said, "Sweetheart, you don't have MS. They misdiagnosed you."
Wow.
What? What are you saying? And let me tell you something, man. It's hard to believe in this day and time they could miss something like that, but they do.
Right?
And she's got some real weird thing. It's called white cell disease. And here's the thing. It's given to her by her genes, hereditary. Nobody knew it, but her grandmother had it.
Wow.
The grandmother didn't tell any of the kids about that disease because she wanted grandchildren, even if they weren't 100% right. She still wanted grandkids.
Right.
But she didn't tell nobody. She didn't want to make herself look bad, did she?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, my daughter's damn near dead because they misdiagnosed her. And she's taking all this shit that she doesn't need. Her immune system's destroyed, completely destroyed, man. And
Jesus.
now she works for me, and we're spending some time together, man.
And that's great, man. Watching, I mean, I've watched your movie so many times.
Yeah.
And she was really damaged in that movie.
Yeah.
There was a lot of pain she experienced. And I take what I assume, from my sobriety and seeing how you guys have rekindled, and I'm really hoping I can do that with my kids.
You will.
It's coming along little bit by little bit.
Don't push.
Right.
Don't push. You didn't ask for nothing for a long time. And now you want something? You know what I'm saying? All right, my friend. I'm going to let you get off here, man. My mouth's starting to give me a problem.
Yes, sir. Jake, thank you so much. And everybody listening, I really hope that you took something positive from this. I know I did.
Hey, listen, man, anybody out there, if you're having a tough time, man, you need help. You know where we're at.
And if nobody has told you today, I love you.
Yeah, absolutely.
You are worth it.
Take care.
Love you, Jake. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for this shortened edition of the Smells Like Hope podcast. I hope having Jake on was enlightening and helpful. And if you need help, don't be afraid to ask. There is so much help out there that you're not even aware of. And so many people will help you that you never thought would. But they will, because they love you, because you are worth it. Thanks for joining us this time. And I'm very grateful that the All Sports, All Plays Network has chosen to pick up the Smells Like Hope podcast. This is not a podcast that I do on a weekly or a regular basis just for the sake of content. I come on here and I talk to you guys when I feel like I have something relevant that I can give to you. And we had Jake. That was something relative that I could give to you. So on that note, we're going to call it an episode. Thanks, guys. Thanks to our guest producer, Chris, today. And we'll see you on the next Smells Like Hope and on the next Wrestle Shoot. Yeah.